All right, well, again, welcome everybody. My name is Mark Barkley. I am the Director of Member Services here at 3RNet. And thank you so much for joining us for today's call on 3RNet Plus tools. We're going to make sure to give you an overview and certainly answer any questions that you guys have. So before we jump into that, I'm going to kick it over to our Executive Director, Mike Shimmons.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, and very excited about today to have all of you on this call and demo and live question and answer here to talk about what we are very excited about, which is 3RNet Plus tools, a new product offered by 3RNet that we think will really hopefully be a game changer for many of you that are maybe struggling to keep track of some of your recruiting efforts in candidates. It's really designed with the employers that we work with in mind. I'm sure that most of you probably in the call have obviously interacted with 3RNet in some way. Probably a lot of you have posted or are posting jobs and are kind of the main contact for 3RNet. If you're not, you can also, this presentation will help you understand more about that. But certainly we think it's going to be a great way for many different types of employers to utilize 3RNet more extensively, hopefully streamline their processes and do it at a very low cost. And we think it's going to be a great addition. So we're pleased that you're here. I'm not going to take much time in my intro here. I'll let Mark get to the good stuff, and then I'll come back on at the end to wrap up. And certainly, again, appreciate everybody spending some time with us today to learn more about Plus Tools and see if it's right for your organization. So Mark, take it back. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention our exciting giveaway. So Christine, do you want to kind of tell everybody what we're doing today?
I would love to, yes, because who doesn't love free stuff? We all do. So again, thank you so much for being on the call. Hang with us. And at the end, we will pick one lucky winner to receive in the mail a beautiful Stanley tumbler. And you can even choose your color. So I know they're a really popular item. They're fantastic. So stick with us. You're going to want to stick with us anyway, because 3RNet Plus Tools is amazing. As Mike said, it's built with you in mind. And with that, again, just hang with us. We'll choose a lucky winner at the end or toward the end of the session. And we'll go from there. Thanks, Mark.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Christine. Thank you, Mike. Again, thank you to everybody that joined us. Just a few housekeeping things. We are recording today's session, so you will get a copy of today's recording. Also, just with the number of people that we have on, I do have everybody muted and videos turned off for now. Once we get to kind of the Q&A here and maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, we'll make sure that everybody has the ability to unmute themselves. But if you do have any questions as we're kind of walking through the demo portion of today's call, feel free to use the chat box and I'll make sure to keep an eye on that as well. So I'm going to jump in and start sharing my screen here. So hopefully this is a familiar site to you, 3rnet.org. So again, 3RNet, we're a national nonprofit association. We've been around for over 25 years, and a lot of you have probably primarily known us for our job board, the ability to post jobs, interact with candidates, and also access some of our educational materials. So all of that is continues to stay the same. Our job board continues to grow. We're approaching almost 10,000 active jobs on the site, and there are over 1,200 employers across the country currently with at least one job on 3RNet. So a lot of kind of traction out there. But what we're going to be talking about today is what we call 3RNet Plus tools. And just for a little historical perspective, I mentioned earlier we've focused a lot in the last 25 years on educating rural and underserved communities on how to recruit better. We all know that recruiting is difficult, even in larger areas. So when we get down to our smaller rural and underserved areas, recruiting for health professionals becomes very, very difficult. And then we also know how crucial it is to help maintain access to services in our community. So we've been providing education for literally decades about how to recruit better in rural areas. We've been working directly doing kind of what we call recruitment for retention readiness assessments with small organizations for the last number of years. And we kind of started to notice a lot of common barriers that employers were running into, especially with making sure that they're following up with candidates in a timely and effective manner, the need for data and the ability to kind of tell your story to your supervisors and your board, and then also just some struggles with maintaining access to job postings and having kind of an easy candidate intake form. So these are things that we've talked about and we've been educating on for years and years and years. And again, we've seen the struggles that small organizations and underserved organizations have had with some of those things. So that was kind of the idea behind 3RNet Plus Tools, is instead of 3RNet just being kind of a source of education and helping educate and inform of recruitment best practices, actually giving employers some practical tools to be able to use within 3rnet.org to help their processes. So again, that's what we're going to be looking at today, and we'll certainly answer any questions that you guys have. So 3rnet.org, this is the public site. What you guys are probably used to seeing is something like this. This is what we call the employer dashboard. So to access 3RNet Plus Tools, we are going to enter the dashboard. So it's just dashboard.3rnet.org with your username and password. And then once you log in, you'll see something like this. So again, traditionally, you've had access to be able to post opportunities, access any sort of referrals that your 3RNet member is sending you, and then also look at some of our different educational resources. So now, in addition to those resources that are provided to you by your state coordinator, you have the option to subscribe to what we call 3RNet Plus Tools. So 3RNet Plus Tools is kind of an add-on paid subscription. So the pricing for 3RNet Plus Tools is $79 a month, or if you choose to subscribe for the entire year, it's $750 for the year. Also, everybody does get a free 30-day trial. So if you want to kind of try it out and see, how it works within your current kind of recruitment process, try out those 30 days. And of course, you can always, cancel at any time. But if I open up 3RNet Plus Tools, and this account is currently subscribed. So if you're not a current subscriber to 3RNet Plus Tools, the only thing that you'll see under 3RNet Plus Tools option is the option to subscribe. So just to be clear, all of these tools that we're going to look at today are kind of behind the subscription. So once you subscribe, you immediately have access to these tools that we're going to be looking at today. So just kind of walking down the menu here. So My Professionals, that is what we're going to kind of lump into. It's kind of partially a tracking system, a reminder system. Also, then it's going to couple in with the next feature, which is My Personal Email Template. So within My Professionals, you're going to be able to quickly and easily communicate with professionals. Feature opportunities. So on the public website, if you're a 3RNet Plus Tools subscriber, you'll be able to feature some of your current opportunities. And then website connectivity is going to allow you the ability to kind of use 3RNet to power your own website. So again, we're going to take about the next 20 minutes or so to walk through kind of each feature here and kind of take questions from there. So looking at My Professionals, one thing I wanted to mention right away, since we kind of already talked about it, is most of you on this call right now, if you're an employer, are probably getting referrals from your 3RNet network coordinator. A lot of you might even have gotten them this morning. A lot of times they come Tuesday mornings. So one thing that's really nice with the 3RNet Plus Tools kind of subscription is traditionally referrals are made and they're active for 7 days. So again, many of you probably already know this. You'll have access to that candidate for 7 days, and then they kind of disappear. So you have kind of 7 days to follow up with them. Within 3RNet Plus Tools, since we have My Professionals, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, within 3RNet Plus Tools, if you're a subscriber, you can take those referrals and save them directly to My Professionals. So again, remember, My Professionals is going to be kind of our organizational type system where we can work with these professionals in different ways. And the nice thing about that is all your private information. So once we get in My Professionals, all of that information is solely available to your account. And again, in this example, if we were to save this health professional to My Professionals, we would now have access to that candidate, longer than the traditional 7 days. So we could save that candidate in here. And again, I'm not going to get too much into this because we're going to look at it here in a second. But we can indicate, how we contacted the candidate, what the source was, where they are in our recruiting process. But ultimately, it gives you the ability to not only do all of the stuff we're about to talk about, but also save those health professionals longer than 7 days, which can be, you know, again, improve your process and improve kind of your timeline to follow up with them. So that was under referrals, and then under the actions button, save to my professionals. The other thing you'll notice here on the summary dashboard is we will have a summary dashboard for my professionals now. And this will make a little bit more sense once we get in there, but just wanted to point that out as far as another additional feature for 300 Plus tools. So jumping into my professionals. So you can see here, kind of the landing page of my professionals has a list of the current professionals that this account, and this is just a demo account, but this is a list of professionals that we're currently working with in our recruitment process. So the idea here is you can use 300 Plus tools to kind of, you know, track and interact those candidates that you're working with throughout your recruitment process. And this isn't limited to just 3RNet candidates. So a couple other kind of things to show here on this landing page. If I go up to the top right, you're going to see a few different options. So configure, what that means is you're working with these health professionals and you want to know certain things about them. How did you contact them, for example? Are they under any sort of obligation? Where are they in your recruitment process? And maybe where did the candidate come from? What was the source? So you can kind of tag each candidate that you're working with these different options or with these different kind of choices. And you also get to define the choices yourself. So if you have, you know, different sources, or if you wanted to add a source right on the fly, you can just click the add source button and you would indicate, you know, maybe it's a career fair. So you would just type in the name of that, save it, and then that immediately becomes a trackable source for you within the system. And you can do that with all of these different kind of options. So again, you're working and you're logging your interactions and your activities with health professionals, but you also get to determine, you know, what things are important for you to know about your work with candidates. Also up here under add my professional. So I already showed you how you would save a my professional that is a 3RNet referral. You would just save that referral from 3RNet right into my professionals. But if you wanted to use my professionals to interact with other professionals that you get outside of 3RNet, you can certainly do that as well. So you would just click add my professional, fill out all of their information, and you can see those configurable options that we just looked at are over here in the right-hand column. So anything that we enter in there, you know, later becomes that kind of trackable option for us. So we just entered career fair and we can immediately start tracking that we found candidates through that career fair. But so you can use all of the functionality for my professionals, both for candidates that come from 3RNet and candidates that don't come from 3RNet. And also remember, my professionals is solely for you. So anything that you enter into my professionals is strictly available to your account. So nobody else will have access to see the professionals that you're working with. They don't go into the broader 3RNet database or anything like that. Everything you do within my professionals is strictly for your account. And then, of course, you can always export and do some stuff within a spreadsheet. However, we also have some kind of robust reporting that you'll be able to do as well. So let me just jump into a specific my professionals record here. So this is going to show us kind of all of the different ways that we can interact with my professionals within the system. Another thing that I haven't mentioned yet, but hopefully you guys have noticed, is that any screen that we're on within my professionals has this blue training and tips information. So there are short videos to kind of walk you through. Also, there is a dedicated 3RNet Plus tools email that you would have access to. That sounds kind of fancy, but it just comes to me anyway. But I would certainly be here to support you with any help that you need getting set up and walking through stuff. But when we're looking specifically at a health professional, you can see kind of the tabs across the top of what we can do. And again, this 3RNet Plus tools was really built with the idea of kind of meeting you where your needs are, right? So some of this stuff will be hopefully very helpful to you, and maybe there are other functions that maybe you don't need. But again, we really built this as kind of a very flexible system with those small and rural and underserved employers in mind. So you can see their tracking information over here based upon those configurable options that we set up. Under history, we can see our interactions with this candidate over time. So you can see for this candidate, for example, we have sent them opportunity emails, kind of presenting opportunities to them. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But the point being is that as you work with candidates through the recruitment process, you can kind of track your interactions with them and then ultimately report upon that. So for example, if you need to see all of your interactions with contacts or excuse me, candidates over the last 2 months, under the reporting section later, we'll be able to run that report. And again, that's helpful not only for your own internal processes, but to make sure that you know, we're kind of communicating and having data for our leadership as far as our recruitment efforts. So adding a contact history is super easy. You just click add contact history, you put in the date that the history happened, the stage of the recruitment process that they're currently in. And remember, that's a configurable option for you. Any sort of notes about your interaction with the candidate, and then how the interaction happens. So the contact method, another configurable field. So you can track those contacts over time with these candidates, and then also report upon it as well. Under the referrals tab, you will see how the candidate was referred to you. This is helpful. Maybe some of you guys have seen in the past when a candidate inquires. So a candidate can actually kind of refer themselves to you. And sometimes that's a little bit hard to see within the normal employer dashboard. But with this referrals tab, you're able to see directly where the candidate came from, if they came from a 3RNet referral. You can, of course, attach files to a candidate. So as you're working with them on things like applications, CV information, licensure, you can keep all of your files related to this candidate right within the system. On Tickler, this is kind of a follow-up or a reminder system. So let's say that we spoke to this candidate today, and then you can see in my example here, maybe we said 10 days from now, we're going to follow up with them in regards to setting up a site visit. So I can add that as a tickler. So I would just put in the date that I want to be reminded, put in my notes as a reminder, and then add that to the system. And then on this date, on June 16th, the system would send me an email saying, hey, remember to follow up with David regarding the site visit. And it's just kind of a built-in reminder system. So again, it kind of goes back to some of that foundational stuff we were talking about at the beginning of the call. Because recruitment is so difficult and so competitive in the environments that we're serving, we really have to make sure that we're following up in a timely way and doing the things that we say we're going to do. So this tickler system is a small way to hopefully help you stay on top of your upcoming communications with health professionals. And then lastly, under My Professionals, so again, just as a general overview, we can kind of track what we're doing with the candidate, log our history with them, kind of see how they got to us, keep track of any sort of files or information related to them, set up any sort of reminders to them to follow up with them. And then the lastly is to present them with opportunities. So this is a way where you can create an email template, and that's the next feature that we're going to cover. So personal email templates are templates that you create yourself, and we certainly have some guidance and some examples for you to use and to look at. But basically, you create an email template with your own custom content. So again, something that maybe a lot of you are doing through Outlook or something right now, kind of a welcome email. Hey, we got your information from this place. Here's a list of opportunities that match your criteria. So what 3RNet will allow you to do is create those templates so that you can select them. So let's say that we want to send a welcome email. And then it will also show you the matching opportunities that you currently have for that professional. So we're looking at a nurse practitioner right now. So you can see it's showing me all of the nurse practitioner jobs that we currently have active for this account. So let's say that I want to present this NP, 3 different opportunities. So I'm going to click those 3 different opportunities, and I'm going to click generate email. And what that does is that will generate an email with the content that you created for your email template, which we'll look at here in a second, but it will also pre-fill in those opportunities that you selected within your opportunity list so that you can quickly create an email with this information. The other nice thing about the way that this is set up, you can see, is it comes directly from your email client. So it doesn't come from 3RNet or a 3rnet.org email address. So, if your email address is davidsmith123 at whatever, that is the email address that's going to be sent from. It goes right into your own outbox. The candidate replies to you, and it comes directly to your email. So again, 3RNet is, has the tool to allow you to set up and create the email, but you can actually send the email from your own email client. So once you have the email open, by clicking that button, you just paste in your information and you're able to send that out. And again, some of this looks a little wonky here because of we're in the test environment, but hopefully you get kind of the general idea that you can create an email template based upon the opportunities that you want to present to a candidate, copy it, open it up, and that will open an email right within your own client for you to be able to send out that email. The other nice thing about doing that is that all of those emails then that you send out with those opportunities are logged for you. So that is our final tab here under matched opportunities. So these two kind of go hand in hand, emailing opportunities based upon those custom email templates that we create. And then the matched opportunities is showing us a list of the opportunities that we've presented to that candidate. So as we're working with candidates over time, if we want to see what opportunities we've presented to them on what date, we always have that log here under matched opportunities. And you maybe noticed it also becomes a history because we're contacting that candidate by sending them an email. So as soon as you generate an email on the email opportunities tab, the opportunities that you sent to that candidate are logged under matched opportunities, and that event is logged here under history that you sent them a matching opportunities email with the number of opportunities that you presented to them. So again, lots of cool stuff that you can do here under My Professionals, but just as a general overview, My Professionals is for both professionals that you are referred from 3RNet and also from professionals that come from other places. Everything that you do within My Professionals is completely private and customized to the terminology and kind of the language that you use around working with your professionals. And it is all set up to hopefully be as easy as possible. So we know that a lot of you guys are wearing many, many hats. You're doing many things in addition to, recruitment. So we really set this up to kind of give you hopefully the most helpful information in the least amount of time. So you can track your interactions in history, set up reminders, emails, files, all of that becomes available to you right within My Professionals. Okay, and I am keeping an eye on the chat box if anybody has any questions as we're walking through this. Again, we'll certainly leave some time at the end for some Q&A as well. But I'm going to move on to our next feature under My Professionals, which is My Personal Email Template. So you kind of saw the end goal of these email templates, but just to show you the process of creating them. So if I wanted to create a new email template, I can do that. So you can have as many email templates as you would like. So you would give it a title. So maybe this is, the initial email to a family medicine physician or whatever the case may be. So you can be as specific or as general as you'd like to. But then within this email content, again, you can copy and paste from existing templates that you have. You can, kind of reuse some of the information that we have over here. You can see some examples and stuff in some of the links that we have. There's also what we call tokens. So these tokens are kind of dynamic. It will dynamically insert the correct information for you when you create that email. So for example, if I say, hello, doctor, and then I use this last name token, right? When we create the actual email, it's not going to say hello, Dr. last name. It's going to say hello, Dr. Morin or hello, Dr. Shimmons or whatever the candidate's last name is that we are communicating with. And then from there, we could say, thank you so much for your interest in our organization. Here are some links to our community. Here's a link to our application process. And then maybe, here are some jobs that you might be interested in. And then that is where we could use this opportunities token. And you just saw how this worked. So in any email that we use this opportunities token, we'll have the ability to select opportunities when we're creating an email. And it will automatically put in, also with a full link to the website, those opportunities. So if you include 5 opportunities when you're creating that email, it will have 5 rows in that table, and each row will have a specific link right to the website so they can see your entire job posting. Okay, I see a question in the chat box. So is the $79 per user or per agency? So that's a great question. So again, it's per account. So if you have a number of people sharing one account, which many of our employers do, that's totally fine. You would only need one subscription to 3RNet Plus tools. So if you have a couple people that are all accessing the same account and posting jobs through one 3RNet account, you would just need one 3RNet Plus tool subscription. And if you currently have separate accounts and you want to merge those into one account, that's certainly something I can help you with as well. Just shoot me an email offline and I can certainly help get that set up for you. Yes, you are welcome. So again, the email template feature is where you can set up your own custom email templates. Also, you can personalize them using the tokens. And then you send them out under My Professionals directly through your own email client, and all of that is tracked for you, so you have indications, history, data, showing all of that hard work that you're doing communicating with these health professionals. The next feature is pretty straightforward. It is featured opportunities. You guys are probably familiar with other sites having things like featured opportunities or things like that. This is something new to 3RNet. What I always think kind of makes us different. Again, we are a small nonprofit, so we don't do a whole lot of. This is the first time that we've ever offered anything directly to employers. This is the first time that we have ever charged employers for anything. So we wanted just to include a feature like this to hopefully set aside or make your opportunity stand out a little bit more for those organizations that choose to kind of help support us through this 3RNet Plus tool subscription. So it's really easy. You can have up to 2 at a time. So as long as your 3RNet Plus tools subscription is active, you can have up to 2 currently featured opportunities. So if we want to feature an opportunity, we just find the one we want to feature, click Make Featured. That will update our list up here, and then you'll see once we're at our limit of 2, it will tell us that, but maybe we want to switch one out, so we can just remove one, and then our list will pop back up and we can choose. So you can kind of rotate them if there are different opportunities that you're looking to get out there at different timeframes. It's really easy to kind of pull up and push out different featured opportunities. And to show you a little bit of what that looks like from the public side of things, I'm going to jump back over to our public website. So on our public website, I mentioned there are almost 10,000 jobs currently on the website. And hopefully, with 3RNet, we're not just for clinical professions. We have over 300 different professions to choose from. And we continue to add to that list and make updates based upon what our employers are looking for. But on our home screen here, you can see we have a number of jobs posted. And so there are 12 jobs on this homepage that always show up, and you can see 6 of them are featured. So you have there's a much higher likelihood of your job showing up on the homepage if it is marked as featured. Also, then when you look at our jobs, like let's say that you were searching for jobs or a candidate is searching for jobs, the featured jobs will show up at the top of their day. So you can see this featured job showing up at the top of the list as it was posted, it looks like yesterday. So there are kind of a couple different ways that those featured jobs get out there. Again, they have a much greater likelihood of showing up on our homepage. And then also they show up at the top of the search results for that day. So if somebody was to search for, it looks like this is an OB position, this would show up at the top of the OB results for that day and going forward, unless there were any newer OB jobs posted. So it does give you some additional exposure to those health professionals. And again, just kind of a small way to make your job stand out to those health professionals, again, as a thank you for supporting us if you're a 300 Plus Tools subscriber. Okay, a few more things to cover here, and then we will open up kind of the Q&A portion for today. So website connectivity. This is another thing that we alluded to earlier. So in an increasingly kind of virtual world, of course, and candidates are interacting with us and seeing us across a lot of different environments. And again, being small and or rural and underserved organizations, a lot of times we might not have the capacity to, easily update jobs on our website, or, send a candidate a quick list of jobs through an email. So what the website connectivity feature does is it allows you to take what you have on 3RNet and basically use it outside of 3RNet. So the first example here is, so think of a career page on your own website. Maybe you have one, maybe you don't. Maybe it's a hassle to kind of keep your jobs updated on your own website. Using this website connectivity feature, you're basically able to take all of the jobs that you have on 3RNet and feature them on your own website. So this is just this is kind of an example. So this is the feed of the account that we're looking at, but this would be specifically on your own website. So let me just pull up an example that would show you exactly what that looks like. So I saw Judd, I think, on the call earlier. Judd, hopefully it's okay. I show your website here as an example. So Judd Mellinger-Blauk is our 3RNet coordinator in the state of Pennsylvania. And so this is a feature that has been available to our coordinators for a while, but we've never offered employers until 3RNet Plus Tools. So on this job search page, you can see this is Judd's website. And down here, you can see all of the jobs that Judd is working with across the state of Pennsylvania. So that is kind of what you can do with website connectivity. And then all of this updates in real time. So for example, if you were to add a job to 3RNet, it would immediately go to your website, or it would immediately go to that link. You can use that link on social media and different emails, LinkedIn. So anywhere that you're kind of out there promoting your jobs, you can kind of use 3RNet to power that. So a few other things to show you there. If I go back to our dashboard, you'll see there's also a health professional interest form. So that is kind of also worked into that job integration view. So if you either use this as a link, like what we're looking at now, or if you used it as more of an embed, as we call it, on your own website, which is kind of what Judd chose to do. Either way, a candidate intake form is also kind of included. So let's say that this is on your own website and a health professional is looking at it and it's like, yeah, I want more information. I want to have somebody reach out to this about this opportunity to me. You can see there's this inquire button. And if I click that inquire button, it pops up a very short candidate kind of intake form where they can put in some information about themselves and click submit. And then what happens when they click submit is that health professional's information will automatically be sent into your My Professional system. So they'll already be put in directly into My Professional, so you can start interacting with them and capturing your work with that professional without having to manually enter the candidate into the system. So again, a candidate would fill this out, click submit. You as the employer or as the contact person would get an email notifying you that you have somebody that just filled out this form. And ultimately that candidate's information would be directly within My Professionals for you. So you could start interacting, setting them up, and the system will know what opportunity they inquired about within My Professionals. And it will also tell you within My Professionals that the source was your candidate intake form on your website. So there are a couple different layers of information it will provide for you. So again, using that website connectivity, you could either send this out as a link, linking to your jobs and sending people to be able to view your jobs and submit their information to you, or you could put it directly on your own website with your own branding and header and everything. And all of it is updated in real time, as I mentioned. So as soon as you post a job or edit a job on 3RNet, you don't have to do anything else. The website connectivity feature is always up to date with whatever you have currently live on 3RNet. Okay. Thanks, Jed, for volunteering and helping us out there as always. And then the last thing that I will cover here today, just before we open it up for any sort of questions, we also have this report section. So this is something that is also exclusive to 3RNet Plus Tools subscriber. And just to give you a quick rundown, I won't jump into all of the data, especially because this is a test account and we're not looking at real data, so to speak. So My Professionals contact history. This is that report that would show you all of the candidates that you were working with over a certain period of time. So let's say that the board of directors asks you for kind of a report of, hey, show me all of the people that we worked with over the last 3 months. You can simply come in here, put in your date range. It will give you the exact report that you can then export or save, and you'd have all of that information kind of right at your fingertips. My Professionals by profession would, of course, show you the different people that you're working with by profession and also within a certain recruitment status. So you could see, hey, I'm working with 5 family medicine physicians and 3 of them are currently interviewing and 2 of them are looking at a site visit. My opportunities by profession and community. So the opportunities that you have currently active in the system based upon the profession and the community that they're in. And then by profession and designation. So are they, underserved? Are they, there's a little bit more information that you can find about your opportunities there as well. And then certainly you can always keep track of your placements. So ultimately those hires that we're all kind of working towards, you can always keep an up-to-date list of those folks within 3RNet and be able to view a bunch of information about where you found them, how long you worked with them, all of those sorts of data points within that placements report. So I know that was a lot to cover here in about 40 minutes, but just to kind of recap and talk a little bit about next steps, there are a lot of different ways you can interact with those professionals under My Professionals, both from 3RNet and outside of 3RNet, including those 3RNet referrals that you get. And all of those interactions are based upon how you configure your terminology and your options. You can also communicate with those professionals using email templates to save you some time. Those email templates come directly from your email. You can get more exposure for your jobs and make your jobs stand out more on the public website using the featured opportunities section. And then if you want to use your 3RNet data outside of 3RNet, so if you want to be able to send folks your jobs or quickly and easily be able to update the jobs on your own website by powering them by using 3RNet, you're simply able, and I guess I didn't mention this, so if you wanted to embed this on your website, for example, it's as simple as copying and pasting this on your website where you want your jobs to show up. So there's no programming or no anything like that required. And I'm certainly more than happy to help you get it set up initially as well. But there are a couple different options about basically how you can use your information on 3RNet to communicate with folks outside of 3RNet. Okay, and then I promised the very last thing I will cover for today. We talked about everything under 3RNet Plus Tools. If this is something that you want to try, if you want to try your 30-day free trial and kind of see if it fits your needs, when you sign in, I'm going to sign in as an account right now that's not currently signed up with 3RNet Plus Tools. So if you're not a current 3RNet Plus Tools subscriber, you would just open up 3RNet Plus Tools over here in the left-hand column and click subscribe. That's going to kind of show you the differences between the access levels on 3RNet. So most of you probably currently have an approved 3RNet account where you can access our educational materials, you can post jobs, and you get access to candidate referrals. So that all stays the same. 3RNet Plus Tools, what that would change if you choose the monthly option or the annual option is it gives you all of those additional things that we just talked about. So it's pretty easy to sign up. You just pick your choice, either $79 a month or $750 a year, which is about 20% savings, I think. And you click that, it will bring you right to our payment portal. And just like any other subscription, you just enter your information. You can start your free 30-day trial. It will tell you specifically when your credit card would be billed. Also, if you choose to go, for example, if you choose the monthly subscription, you'll get monthly emails reminding you that your subscription is going to renew, so it doesn't just kind of creep up on you. So again, we'll definitely make sure that you're kind of knowledgeable about when your credit card is going to be charged and that sort of thing. But every user does get a free 30-day trial, and you would also get notified 7 days before that trial is about to end. And if you ever need to cancel your subscription, you do it right through the website. So you don't have to get a hold of us or anything. You can simply go to your account settings, cancel or pause your subscription if you find out that it's not for you. So with all of that being said, let me pause there. Christine, Mike, anything I missed? Anybody in the chat box have any questions?
Hey, Mark, I'll give folks a minute or two to ask questions because we want to make sure anything you're unsure about, anything, is this covered? Can I do this? Put that in the chat, because I think as Mark just very well demonstrated, there's a lot in here. As he mentioned at the beginning, just to remind you, we've spent a lot of time and interacted with many employers, and everything we put in here is with you in mind, to make your many tasks you're completing every day easier. I mean, you did all that in 35-40 minutes. And that was a lot of stuff. And of course, we also, as Mark mentioned, priced it. So even if you start with a feature or two of the many features, we know you're going to feel the value of that. What we're hearing from some employers who are using Plus Tools is just that. Even unlocking the featured opportunities, they're seeing more traction, more interaction from the candidates, those mission-minded health professionals, come from 3RNet. And we're also hearing that even using a feature or two, is well worth the $79 or $750 a year. In fact, we've had a few kind employers tell us they would have happily paid more, but that was the goal, right? We're a nonprofit. Our goal here is not to make millions, it's to support the work you do, because we know how competitive it is. We know there are other systems out there like this. We know you don't have days or weeks or even hours to spend learning and using bells and whistles you don't need. So we know this is straightforward. You can get in there, play around with it, start with what seems easiest and most straightforward to you. And some of what we're hearing again from your fellow employers is that they're excited to continue to unlock the tools, even having used one or two of the features. And I do see a question here, Mark, so I'll zip it with that.
Sure, thank you, Christine. I'm going to allow people to unmute themselves. So if you don't have a question, want to take this chance to remain on mute, please do so. But you should now have the opportunity to unmute yourself. So Jean, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Jeannie Mansky. I'm at Billings Clinic in Montana. And I think I missed something on the email. Are we able to pull names from a database of people who qualify for a job? Like how do we get the names of people? Do we know if they are interested in our state, or are we just pulling it like from national database of rural family medicine physicians?
Yeah, so great question. So hopefully you're already getting candidate referrals from 3RNet. So those referrals come from our database. So our database is only available, our entire database is only available to our one network coordinator in every state. But that coordinator uses our database to make you as an employer referrals. So those referrals would come into your referrals tab. And then you're able to save these folks to My Professionals, which would allow you to generate the emails to them. So
Yeah, that's why I'm confused. I don't think I ever get referrals from. I haven't seen any referrals. I mean, I looked in there and there were maybe a couple from like the last 3 or 4 years, but I haven't had one for like a year. So I don't know. Does that mean the Montana coordinator isn't sending them, or is there something? Oh,
Sure.
we have lots of open jobs. I just saw the chat. Probably 10 in various rural locations.
Okay, yeah, so it does determine that account configuration is determined on how your coordinator works there in Montana. We have a really great coordinator in Montana, so I just jotted down your information, Jeannie, and I will follow up with you. I'll check out your account and see what your account settings are set to, and then I'll loop you into your Montana coordinator so we can make sure that you're getting those referrals, because again, those referrals are sent every 7 days. So if you have any referrals, they would be very current from at least the last 7 days.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, if you can help me figure out if we're missing something for getting referrals, and then I'm planning to try the 30-day trial later this month. I'm going to be gone for a couple weeks, but when I get back, if we can, because I guess what I'm saying is if I'm not getting referrals, then I can't send an email, right?
Well, you can also use 3RNet, the My Professionals for candidates outside of 3RNet. So say you met somebody at a career fair, you could enter them in as a My Professional and still use all of the functionality. But of course, we do want to make sure that you're getting access to those referrals right through 3RNet as well. So you can use it for both 3RNet referrals and also candidates that you might find in other areas.
Okay. Thank you.
Jeannie, may I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming up with a question. Are you currently using any kind of tracking system? Or have you used a tracking system of any kind, or any other kind of like the tools that we have here currently?
We do use Practice Match.
Okay.
And we don't have an ATS though. So an applicant tracking system. We don't have
Okay.
like a master one. It's
Okay.
generally been done kind of with Excel and Microsoft stuff.
Got it.
And so our system's looking into that as we grow, but we do have a lot of rural locations. Obviously, Montana and Wyoming is where
Sure.
we're located. Because we've had so few applicants through 3RNet, I mean, we always post our jobs there, but it's just been a really small number. We just haven't, really needed that, I guess, but maybe we're
Sure.
missing out on something. I definitely see the value, especially because we have 2 or 3 people who work on recruitment. And so
Sure.
the fact that you guys let us share an account, the only tricky thing about that is you only allow us to put one email in there. So for example, if my main recruiter is gone, no one else receives email notifications. And I had checked on that before. There's just you can only put one email. So even if you're trying to share an account, it doesn't totally help if a person is on vacation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. Yeah, Mark's going to come back. I think it was a comment here too on your last part of that. But thank you, because I think what we're doing is trying to fill in that gap when you don't have an ATS, and you may Practice Match is great, but generally you're tracking just physicians and not maybe other health professionals. So I think we have a broader search here. But Mark, I know you're going to probably talk about that multiple account.
Yeah.
User.
Yeah, you're correct. Also, Practice Match, we are not using the applicant tracking system. Like we use Practice Match for sourcing, but you pay extra if you're actually going to use ATS. So there's sort of a minimal service there where you can kind of make notes on certain physician accounts, but it's not quite the same thing. But that was why I asked about emails. In Practice Match, I'm able to, choose people to send emails to. So I'm familiar with that. And it just looks like your system is a little bit different, but similar.
Well, thank you for that. And there's a very helpful comment in the chat box, and that was going to be my suggestion as well. There are a number of folks that kind of use like a general email address. So that could be, recruiting@myhospital.com or, whatever you choose to be, and that can be forwarded to multiple people. So for example, you can have one primary email address that's generic, and then it automatically is sent to 3 or 4 different people. So but I will follow up with you, Jeannie, and we'll get you connected to our Montana coordinator so we can figure out what's going on with your referrals. Okay, any
Thank you.
other? Yes, absolutely. What other questions or comments do we have here?
I have a quick question. I'm not sure if you all can hear me.
Yep, we sure can.
My name is Mara Wilbur. I am with Northern Light Health in Maine. Of course, Maine is notorious for being very rural, so we use 3RNet quite a bit. I have signed our team up for the Plus tools a couple of weeks ago. One thing I've noticed is that the referrals that I continue to get are candidates that keep coming back each week. That's great, obviously, it keeps their names fresh, but I was just curious as to, if we were able to get, only new referrals, or if it's just the same candidates over and over again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that our referrals mostly work, so again, our network coordinators are making you those referrals from our database, and all of the candidates within our database have chosen to sign up to indicate they're looking for jobs. So the way that a lot of our members do referrals is kind of through an automated type process. That's why a lot of you probably notice that you get them every Tuesday. And there are 3 criteria that those automated referrals are based upon. So they have to match the profession and specialty of your job. And so that's something that's really important because, for example, if you have a job that's a, say, physician other, there's not very many candidates that are signing up as physician other. So you're probably not going to see a lot of referrals for that specific position. Also then, if you're willing to consider a nurse practitioner or a PA, for example, it's really important that you have it posted as both, because the system will only refer you direct matches to the jobs that you have open. So that's the first criteria. It has to match the profession and specialty that you have an active job for. The second criteria, they have to be interested in working in your state. So when they created their account, they have to have indicated your state as somewhere they would like to work. And then the third criteria, they have to have been active within 3RNet over the last 7 days. So they have to be logged into 3RNet within the last 7 days. And that's why if you're seeing somebody over the course of 3 or 4 weeks, that means they're continuing to log in to 3RNet at least once a week to look for new openings.
Okay, that's actually great to know, because I didn't realize that they were, continuously logging back in. So that's actually really great to know. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and just a couple other points there. Under your referrals, you do have the option to skip candidates. So for example, if you find a candidate that's just really not viable, maybe you work them through your process and they're just not going to work out for you, you can skip them always. And that will just basically kind of block them from being sent to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind too. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, any other last minute questions or comments? We just have a few minutes here and we want to make sure that we get everybody out here on time, and we still have to pick our winner. Any other questions for today?
Mark, I had a quick question, just something, if they choose to use this, they're using it for, let's say, a number of months or even years, and they decide to stop for whatever reason, what will they do with the information that's in the system?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically you would have access to your historical data. So let's say that you use Plus Tools for a year, and something happens and it doesn't get renewed. Basically you would lose the ability to use the features going forward. but you would still have access to your historical data. So you wouldn't lose anything. And then if you chose to register again 6 months after your initial subscription, kind of went inactive, all of that information would still be in there for you. So you don't lose anything. But again, you wouldn't be able to actively use the features going forward. Okay, and I see another question in there from Shelly. So Shelly, my name is Mark. I would be the best contact, and I can throw my information here in the chat box. And I'd be happy to set up any sort of individual demos with anybody as you guys need. Okay, so before we have too many people jump off, let us pick our winner. So I'm just randomly selecting a name from the list. Let us go with Rebecca Wood. Rebecca, are you still on the call? Ah, congratulations.
Yay, Rebecca!
All right.
Congratulations. Rebecca, I'm gonna message you here quick. I'm gonna get your details so we can get you your Stanley tumbler. Thanks so much for joining.
Cool, thank you.
All right, Mike, any last minute words for the group?
Again, great job, Mark, on the overview. Looks like we're getting a lot of good comments. Again, we understand that sometimes it takes a little while to think through the process, work through it, ask a lot of questions, involve other people in your organizations, and just know we're ready to do that, stand by and ready. And we're really excited about bringing this tool to you. We think it's going to be very helpful. It does require a little bit more explanation, possibly. So we'll continue to work through it, ask any questions you have, and we look forward to working with you in this new way. And it's going to be, I think, a great help to many of you. So thanks again. And thank you, Mark.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Hope to talk to you guys soon.